Section 2 continues what you're learning from Section 1. You'll learn more about recognizing diver stress and what to do about it. You'll see how scuba gear operates and typical gear-related problems that can lead to accidents. You'll learn about some basic first aid principles specific to aquatic life injuries, followed by more about rescuing tired and panicked divers at the surface. As you've learned, stress is a response to real or perceived threats. Managed with proper responses, stress can lead to solutions. But unmanaged, it can lead to panic and accidents. You want to be able to recognize stress in yourself or others. The first way is direct observation. Look for behavioral changes, such as inappropriate irritability, silence, excessive talkativeness, or hesitation. Stress tends to reduce situational awareness. But sometimes, these don't mean anything. You're looking for changes from a person's normal behavior. Especially if you don't know the person well, the second way to recognize stress is to privately ask how the diver feels about the dive. Be sincere and careful to avoid sounding judgmental so there's no accidental peer pressure. Generally, you can help create an atmosphere where divers feel they can express their concerns about something by setting the example yourself. If something about the dive doesn't seem right, or is clearly an issue to a diver who's not comfortable speaking up, help by taking it on yourself. You may be surprised how often someone will say, "I'm glad you spoke up, because I was worried too." If you discover a diver has undue stress and anxiety about a dive, you want to direct the stress response cycle to solution thinking. Suppose a diver has an overwhelmingly irrational fear of sharks, but feels peer pressure to make a dive where divers commonly see them. The diver might panic and react inappropriately to any behavior she doesn't understand, leading to an accident. Begin with problem recognition by making sure the diver understands what causes her stress. Then, encourage solution thinking. Help to form a plan of action to handle the problem causing the stress. Successfully implementing the plan, or being prepared to if it's a potential problem, should eliminate or reduce the problem, preventing more serious problems. In this example, you could help the diver better understand shark behaviors and be prepared with what to do if a shark seems threatening. Because diving relies on multiple integrated equipment components, problems can arise due to malfunction, misuse, or abuse. Equipment malfunctions are actually quite rare when divers maintain and service their gear according to manufacturer's guidelines and inspect it before diving. Gear misuse or abuse more commonly leads to problems in 6 general ways. It's not your responsibility to take care of other divers' gear, but being watchful and aware of these may help avoid incidents. 1. If a diver uses unfamiliar or specialized equipment, like a lift bag, without the relevant training, problems can result from not knowing the required proper techniques for use. 2. Improper fit. This includes both wearing the wrong size and having the right size, but failing to adjust it so it fits appropriately. A third issue is using makeshift or obsolete equipment instead of accepted standard modern gear. Improvising and older kits aren't always problems, but they can be. A fourth problem is not having required equipment. This can mean not having gear divers are always supposed to have, like an SPG, or having the gear but not the right type for the situation. 5. Watch for excessive or inappropriate modifications, such as those that sometimes result from trying to dive with broken or missing equipment. 6. By far, the biggest gear problems are failing to maintain it properly and failing to inspect before diving. Pre-dive safety checks before each dive, coupled with regular maintenance and inspection as recommended by the manufacturer, go a long way toward preventing problems. Although few aquatic animals naturally attack divers, many have natural defensives that can lead to 3 types of injuries: bites, cuts, abrasions, and punctures, and stings. Through your first aid training, you're already familiar with basic emergency first aid. Let's expand on what you've learned. Regardless of the type of aquatic life injury, as you learned in emergency first response, your priority is basic life support and assuring the patient's airway, breathing, and circulation. If it's a non-venomous bite, scrape, or cut, handle it as you would any wound, making sure the patient gets medical attention to prevent infection. Venomous animal injuries can cause a variety of signs and symptoms, including severe pain, swelling and inflammation, weakness and paralysis, nausea, mental confusion, unconsciousness, and respiratory and cardiac arrest. For most venomous stings, remove any spines, stingers, or foreign objects from the wound using tweezers or forceps. Avoid contact with your hands and eyes, wearing protection as appropriate so you don't get stung too. Control bleeding if necessary, then apply hot compresses or, if possible, soak the afflicted area with hot water. Ideally, apply 43 to 49 degrees Celsius, 110 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit heat for at least 30 to 90 minutes. If the sting is on a limb, keep it below heart level and monitor for shock while waiting for emergency care to arrive. Let's look at first aid specific to stings from jellyfish, sea wasps and other box jellyfish, Portuguese man-of-war and similar invertebrates. These stings range from painful to life-threatening, so again, prioritize basic life support. After assuring airway, breathing, and circulation, remove any remaining tentacles with tweezers or forceps while rinsing with seawater, not fresh water, which could make the sting worse. Avoid contact with stinging cells and protect your hands as necessary because stinging cells can still sting even detached from the animal. Neutralize remaining stinging cells with a 5% acetic acid solution like vinegar or a commercial anti-sting product. Finish with hot water or hot packs to break down the venom. Some areas have detailed recommendations for injuries from specific organisms that live there. Your instructor will tell you about these. You've learned that your first choice when responding from boat or shore is to reach, throw, wade, or take a boat. But these aren't always options because of location, distance, or what's available. So let's look at techniques for using flotation aids, tows, and exits for in-water rescues and assists. If a responsive diver needs help at the surface, and you have to help by getting in the water, you'll need to decide what gear to use. This depends on the situation, but start by getting the victim in sight and keeping him there. Ask a bystander to keep her eyes on the victim. If you're wearing a buoyant exposure suit, you may need weights to snorkel down if the victim sinks. Once you've made contact, you can ditch the weights if needed. You almost always want your mask, fins, and snorkel. They'll usually save you more time than it takes to get them. Don your gear and enter the water where you have the shortest swim. Keep your eyes on the victim as you gear up and as you enter without splashing or going under. Swim so you can watch the diver. You want to get there quickly, but save enough energy for the rescue and tow to safety. You can use your arms to save your legs, but save enough strength in them for the rescue. Pace yourself based on the environment and distance. When you stop to evaluate, prepare to quick reverse by leaning back with your feet toward him. This positions you to escape if he approaches and threatens your safety by trying to climb on you. Use flotation if it's readily available. Take it with you, throw it ahead of you, or have someone throw it to grab on the way out. Extend it ahead, between you and the victim. Flotation simplifies the rescue by providing immediate buoyancy and reducing the need to make direct contact initially. After the victim's buoyant and calmed down, you may find it easiest to tow him to safety by the flotation device. If there's no standard emergency flotation device available, improvise if you can. If it's light, buoyant, and easy to hang on to in the water, it will probably work. It's very rare, but possible, to need to respond to and help two divers at once. Your best options are non-swimming assists and having multiple rescuers, but these aren't always possible. You have to deal with what you have. If you're the only rescuer available, a flotation device of any sort will greatly simplify the rescue. Give it to the diver who appears in the most urgent trouble. Making sure that solves the immediate problem, tell that victim you'll be back and go assist the other. You may need to separate two panicked divers. Inflating both their BCDs from behind or from underwater usually accomplishes this, plus solves the immediate problem by making them buoyant. If you can't inflate BCDs, drop their weights, of course, so they're buoyant if not separated. If handling more than one panic diver presents unacceptable risk, stay clear of one or both until you can reasonably manage the situation. Remember, to be able to help, you must stay out of trouble. After you have stabilized the situation and you're ready to help the victim to safety, removing gear is a consideration. When you are close to the boat or shore, that's seldom necessary. But if not, removing gear may save time and energy. And consider the environment. An exit through rough water, for example, may be more effective breathing from scuba. In that case, you probably wouldn't ditch any gear. Also, consider the victim's condition. A fully recovered diver may not need to get rid of anything. But a very tired, weakened victim in a buoyant exposure suit may recover faster and get to safety quicker. You can use one of several tows to assist a responsive diver to safety. The ideal tow keeps the victim's face above water, reduces drag by keeping both of you reasonably horizontal, doesn't restrict your swimming, and lets you maintain eye-to-eye contact and communication. For short swims, the underarm tow reassures the diver with good communication, eye contact, and direct control and support. The modified swimmer's carry, or leg push, is less tiring if you have a long swim to go and has adequate face-to-face contact. The cylinder valve tow doesn't offer eye contact or ideal communication, but it is the fastest tow. It's a good choice for a quick dash to a boat or shore nearby. Once you've reached safety, getting out of the water has its own considerations depending on the victim's condition, the environment, how much assistance you have, and other circumstances. You may need to help a tired or weak diver out of his gear for exiting. But again, it depends. In some circumstances, keeping it on makes exiting easier. To support and balance a very tired diver walking out, put his arm across your shoulder and your arm around his waist. But if he's too weak to walk or conditions demand, keeping his gear on and crawling out may be better. You simplify exits into a boat by removing equipment in the water and providing the diver with support if necessary. Sometimes all you need is time to simplify exiting. After rest and recovery, the victim may be able to exit with little or no help, which is not only more effective, but psychologically better by helping him restore his self-confidence. After exiting, you have 3 concerns. First, assess the diver's condition and attend to any injuries. Second, contact emergency medical care if necessary. Third, even if the diver wasn't hurt physically, be sensitive to emotions. As appropriate, talk to the diver privately at the right time. Don't play the hero, especially at the diver's expense. Some divers may experience self-esteem loss and residual fear. Without downplaying what happened, reassure the diver, emphasizing what he did right as well as what you both learned. Encourage him to dive again in a non-challenging environment. Doing so will help him get past his fear and move on, and continue to enjoy diving.